Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Hermitcraft. And in the last episode, I asked all of you to leave comments about this season, where we're at, ideas for the future. I thank all of you for doing that. As of recording right now though, that episode is yet to air. And I have actually figured out a big mega project that I will undertake in the near future. Now you see all of these shulker boxes, they are filled to the brim with surprises. You can probably figure out what we're going to be doing based on all of this, but it is going to involve an extraordinary amount of items and an extraordinary amount of redstone. I really want to build a kind of totally bonkers mega project, but in this episode we have work to do over in the commercial area. And this is because we, the HEP, need to expand our area of operation, and there is a beautiful cliffside here with some underutilized space below it. And one of the things we want to do is set up a rail line that goes in and out of these areas. You will see that we're going through the walled off area at HEP, and then it takes us into the caves. And what I've spent a little time doing is filling in the floor here. It used to be water. You can kind of see what's going on over the edge here. And I filled in this entire space, lit up the walls, cleared out a massive section of area up there below the HEP headquarters if you want to connect that area down to this space. But it's in this place that we're going to be building the HEP base. And the idea is that a minecart is going to go through all the rooms of the HEP base so you can catch a ride. But my friends, never speak of it. There is mycelium down here, okay? I've left it in because I couldn't bear to not destroy it on camera. This is below the HEP base. This is unacceptable. All of it has got to go, and you are seeing it right here. I'm making sure every little block of mycelium gets disappeared. So that crisis has been averted. We can't have any of that disgusting block down here. And also, behind this cliff face right here, there is actually more area. Again, I've filled this in with lots of grass. Beautiful, beautiful grass, and we can actually begin to tear all of this out now as it's no longer necessary. And that is because Scar has terraformed this terrain around here and then expanded it over, leaving in the previous cliffside, which has been ripped out. This leaves us with an absolute ton of space to do some building. However, the first thing I'd like to establish is kind of like a pathway system to connect to all the different rooms, and I think I'm going to put it like kind of where the rail is currently so that it can be hidden underneath this space where you can't build as tall, but then the hallways will lead into big open areas where the rooms can hopefully be bigger and bolder. And earlier in the video you may have noticed that there was a hole ripped open in the side of the mountain. We're going to be taking this nice block pallet right here, extending it inside the mountain as that path that's going to hug the left hand side here and go around the corner connecting to all the different rooms. So I've been refining the shape on the inside here. You'll notice that I've removed the minecart track and I'm placing down blocks, and then it hits me. Silence. It's quiet right now. There is actually a lot of construction going on right outside my house, to the point that it's literally shaking the house. It is quite crazy. And so if this episode ends up being shorter, it's because I'm going to have less time to record, but certainly plenty of time to play. And so as I was working on various things, there was like one little thing I wanted to share with you, and that involved clay. Here it is right here. Yeah, this was the stuff. Actually, I think I've done this the wrong way around. So I needed to break down a lot of clay to then turn it into bricks over at my smelter. And I wanted a fast way to do this. Now what you can't do is hold down right click and left click, because then you end up trying to break the block in front of you. You need the reach to be the same for placing and breaking. But if you hold down right click and just tap left click every now and then, you can see we break loads of the stuff. So this is my little technique for breaking this down nice and easy. What is he doing? What? I've caught him in action. Look, B-dubs, why are you defacing? Why are you defacing this? Look at this, caught red-handed. Those eyes, those teeth. I mean, you're supposed to be on our team. No, clearly it's Efo. He's trying to frame B-dubs. Still hasn't spotted me yet. Oh, now you see me. Now you see me. Oh, he just slept in a bed. Maybe it really is B-dubs. This, however, this is one ugly looking creature right here. Distractions aside, my vision for this path is coming together now. I've had this idea of having sort of an overgrown lush feel on one side and then on the opposite some structure, and you can see I've started to put that feel in over here. A mix of blocks, we got leaves, and it really has the right kind of vibes. There's also some lighting down here underneath, and I think I might raise this a little bit higher and have some lanterns up above to kind of make the path feel a little bit more immersive. So anyway, I gotta go grab all the blocks, right, because I'm gonna be using half slabs and stairs in here to add more shape. Cracked stone bricks, we're also going to be using a lot of this. Look, I've made absolutely tons of this because I can just chuck loads of stone bricks into the mega smelter that we have. And look at it now, really coming together. But we got to put structure on this left hand side, like I said. Then it's really going to feel like you're in a carved out section underneath the big old mountain that is above. And I think I'm going to do something with this achacha wood, maybe spread out a little bit. I like the idea of having some shelves of like plants and pottery on and giving a little bit of a showcase to the green grass. However, as you can see, because we're in a rivery area, it isn't as lush as when you're inside the mycelium area, which, yeah, I said it. Yeah, this technically was mycelium first, right? And there are more shenanigans going on in the mushroom area as it once was, formerly the Mushroom Islands. I gotta keep my eyes peeled. I've been informed that HEP has employed some four-legged helpers to take care of some of the problems out here. Hello, my friend. HEP, it literally just says HEP on the side. Oh my goodness me. We got golden doggies in the area. Oh, they're so cute. They are cute, no doubt, but those are some very derpy eyes right there. This is really getting out of hand. Look at the mycelium. It just keeps spreading everywhere. There's cows, mushroom cows, golden retrievers, and sheep with sunglasses everywhere. And there's also the many, many different forms of mumbo. The commercial area is basically turning into a disaster. So time to get serious, knuckle down, and do some building. This is kind of like what I had in mind, but as I put it together, I decided to do a few things a little different, like face the logs outwards, kind of unexpected, but it really ties together with the other colours in this area. And so now comes like throwing in a lot more detail work here. Down on the ground behind me, I'm going to throw in some grass using bone meal, maybe a few flowers in flower pots, and also I've gone for lighting just by putting the lamps kind of at random spots, which I really like as well. I'm also going to mess around with swapping out some of these logs and then just rotating them like that on occasion, like randomly a few in each section, and get a feel for what that looks like. Because randomization I actually think brings a lot to builds, but sometimes when it rubs against the layout that you've got, it can be a bit off-putting. And I think on a larger scale that could possibly work. And it does, but I've had to reel it in a little bit because I kind of overdid it and gave them a fair mix. I think it's important to have some pillars like this with the correct arrangement. And so you can see grass is on the ground and there are flower pots with saplings in. No flowers in them. And I can't help but feel it needs one or two more details, maybe some paintings going on the terracotta back here, but I'm not entirely sure. But now that this thing is sealed up from front to end, I'm happy to leave it and then just make modifications as the inspiration hits me. So now it's what is going to be through the end of the corridor here. We're going to be starting a new room in this space. For that, we need supplies, and a while ago when we stocked up the concrete shop, I made sure to get a ton of white concrete, as the room we're going to be building will be very cleanly and white. I've also picked up my white box from the selection of colour boxes over here, as it's got some similar textures that we'll be after, but the main one I want to gather is quartz. I've deliberately been trying to farm as much of this as I can recently. As you can see, tons of blocks here and also loads of nether quartz. And if we run out, there's certainly no shortage of more over here. Excellent. And apparently I left some shulker boxes. Okay, fill these up with blackstone and other things. Yeah, my recent session here was rather lengthy. This thing used to be filled to the brim with gold blocks, and now this is all we got left. So this new room that we want to build in the HEP headquarters, base, whatever we're calling it, it'd be really nice to have a redstone door leading in. I wanted to make a 3x3 one, but I had very little space to work with, and I realised if we were to leave a hole in the middle that you could ender pearl through for convenience, then it would make the redstone rather simple. So I started to think it through, and I was thinking about how observers, when powered, they create a tick short enough to just push the block across and push it back again with a sticky piston. So this is a crude little proof of concept. And yes, the beacon is unfortunately going to have to get moved. But every time we hit this, you can see that the door can potentially open and close. They just haven't hooked it up to the top one yet. The issue is, though, that we want to be able to power this from either side of the door. So we need two inputs, and that means something like a lever wouldn't work. Now, the problem with a button is that it powers on and it powers off. We only want one signal when we press a button. So if we put sand here and redstone on this side of it, it means it makes power the one time on that redstone signal, and it does it short enough that it only updates the observer once, right? So the observer isn't detecting this thing going on and off because it's too fast, and that is precisely what we need. And that's because it means we can do this. We can activate the door from this side, and we can activate it from this one too. You know that feeling where it just works all of a sudden? I just had that. Let's see this in action first. Superb. The timing is just perfect. Now, everything on the left-hand side here wasn't working a moment ago. I had the redstone going up blocks and slabs, making its way up here, and for some reason, that signal was not getting moved along. So I changed it to an observer, and it seems to accept that, which is rather peculiar. But anyway, you can see that I'm activating it from one side at the moment, so if we head over to this side, haha, magic! That is a very lazy 3x3 piston door. And we can probably tidy it up a little bit by putting those there. Yep, there's no conflict with the edges. And now tidied it up on this side, you can see the door is flush, super simple, and I am very happy with that. Now I've got some tidying up to do though, because I've kind of ripped my way into XB's shop over here. So that is now all patched up behind these stone bricks, and the entrance here is a little bit brighter because I have indeed added some lights on either side. And behind me you'll see a very bright and clean looking build that may be familiar if you watch my live streams. Twitch.tv/Xisuma is where they take place, and I stream about 4 to 5 times a week, so go over there and hit the follow button if you've never done it, and if you caught a stream a couple of weeks back, this will look familiar to you. And I have had to adjust the size and scale of things to make it fit in this area. Nothing should be spawning up there, although like maybe it was literally right there. Anyway, what I was going to say is that I don't really know how to show you this build as I go along building it, right? It's just going to be like, here's some more blocks. So let's take a look at that. And now it looks a little bit different. And the reason we got this gap is just to kind of like add some depth to the room, keep the wall from being completely flat. And with that, we're going to be installing some pipes in this area, and we're going to use this as an excuse to make the area look structural and have some built-in lighting with these end rods. And then the pipes are going to be made out of iron blocks, and then they're going to become a part of the ceiling. We got to be super cautious of lighting. I'm probably going to have to come around here and put in either some iron trapdoors or maybe some white wall, depends on what will look best from down here. But there you go, we're now going to have one of these on this side and then connect all of the iron blocks through the ceiling, which we haven't actually built yet. So now you can kind of look at these like they're perhaps power sources, pulling something out of the ground and then converging on a single point, which we will set up here in the future. Now though, not really sure what's going to be next. So looking back at my design, I think it makes sense to put in the trapdoors next, because this is the only element that kind of interacts with the shape of the room up here, and the rest of it is literally just a big square box. So we can put in all of these trapdoors covering the entire space. And there it is, all filled in, but looking a little bit dark, and that's because I've actually got loads of dirt blocks up there. So this thing is covered up by bone blocks that face downwards, and so in order to place them all in, I had to put dirt there first. So with this little trick, we can go down to this level, and now I've got to come through here and whack it all out with my shovel. As you can see though, there is a little bit of lighting. We've got some redstone lamps that are powered, spaced around the outside here, so the ceiling is going to have like a range of light where it's darker in the middle but brighter on the sides. And this means that it's going to be dark in the very middle. And I wonder if spiders are actually capable of spawning in this area, because it is technically outside the Mushroom Island. That will just have to be a feature of the lab, and look at it now. Yeah, the ceiling really pops like this. And now as I throw in the walls, it starts to come together. And the walls aren't going to be this dull. We will put in details and decorations and things in this room that will make it come more to life. But for right now, we're just going to take a little break from this project. So in the last episode of Hermitcraft, we had a little bit of a chat about what's going to happen in the future of this season, and we also played a whole bunch of Decked Out, which was really fun. And I asked many of you for some feedback on how you've been enjoying the season, what you want to see in the future, and I really do appreciate that. It was fantastic to read through so many comments. There were a lot on that video, but one thing that stood out that was interesting, quite a few people suggested, is this area here. If you're not aware, it stretches from me and Corrales all the way over to Mumbo off in the distance. So there is this point where it's kind of in the middle. You can see a portion of Mumbo's base, you can see my castle, and if I go further in this direction, part of Corrales' base starts to load. So it'd be a nice way to fill in the space between areas. And I've actually had an itch this season to do some building in the desert. Something about a giant pyramid like Cubfan is building, or some big desert structure, has been really appealing to me. And so I think I am inspired both to build in a new style and also put a mega redstone project in the middle of it. And when I say mega, I really do mean it. I need a really large space for the project that I have in mind. And I've been umming and ahhing about where to put it. Maybe it needs to be somewhere where there's some sort of mob farm or something like that we can hook up to it. But I feel like it's not necessary, which means we can kind of build it anywhere we want. And I'm looking at this big landmass right here, and I'm thinking this is going to be the spot. So I will keep you guessing, but next episode I will reveal everything, my plans for this mega project, which is going to be done to both benefit myself and everyone else on the server. We're going to be creating a communal resource of very high value. And again, I'm going to remind you of that hint. All of this stuff right here is going to be necessary for it. And before we get back to the lab, I've got a live stream announcement. So you know the deal, it'll be on the screen. It's taking place on Halloween weekend. There is the schedule. You can go to livestream.hermitcraft.com to get links to all of the hermits who are streaming from the Hermitcraft server. And in the last episode, we also talked about my new channel launching, Xisuma Music. There was a video over there about my record that I made 10 years ago, talking about creating it and the story behind it. And I gotta say, I was absolutely overwhelmed by all the feedback on that. It was really humbling to see people enjoy the record. And so I put it up for streaming as well. So if you head over to the Xisuma Music channel, and of course hit subscribe when you're over there, and check out that video, there is a link to Bandcamp where you can stream the record as well. So there was an option to download, and I got tons of comments from people saying, hey, we'd like to stream it as well, so I've made it available on Bandcamp. So getting back to it, we have a minecart track just around the corner here. This is going to go through all the rooms of the HEP base. And so now it can make its way over here, and as you can see, I've opened up the wall, and we've got a rail going across the top here. And yes, the player is going to smack their head as they make their way through here. I just didn't really think about that until a moment ago, but a little bit of damage is fine. It can turn the corner and then head off into another room. And if I were to turn to the right before we get to the iron block, it means that this powered rail can't be powered. There is a reason it needs to go underneath it. And in this room, I'm starting to pull together some of the details that will eventually tell a story. Over here, we've got something industrial looking, cooking up some heat. We've got smoke going up the top there and lighting across the top. We really need to break up the flatness of these walls with this build. And we need to light it up as well. A common horror story for many builds is that there's something rather obvious, and that is trying to hide the lightning. I'm wondering if maybe the entire floor should be built out of carpet from... Well, look, there's another problem. From when you arrive all the way through, I guess I could put a full wall block down at that level. And then if it were made out of carpet, then we wouldn't have to worry about mobs spawning on the carpet areas necessarily. Anyway, there is a lot more to come with this build right here. I want to bring in armor stands and have technicians inside of here doing experiments, but unfortunately, I am really pressed for time at the moment. You know me, I'm a productive bee, always pumping out videos on the YouTube, and every now and then you just don't get quite as much time as you thought you would. I've got a lot of other stuff going on IRL that I need to take care of, and so kind of wrapping this one up before finishing the lab, which is how I wanted to end it. Well, a whole new island is popping into existence over here. That is definitely interesting. And I'm reminded that we didn't do any decked out this episode. I did get 2 keys. These were from some kills from our Ravager that we renamed. So next episode we might do a couple of runs, but I've also got the big project to announce, right? So who knows what's going to happen in the next one, but that's it from this one. If you enjoyed it, please do leave a like, and I'll see you soon with another episode of Hermitcraft. Bye-bye.